CSS way too much. I mean, people think I'm weird, but I love it. Today I'm going to talk to you about CSS shapes, transitions, transforms. It's the fun stuff that you don't normally get to see. Can you hear me okay back there? First, I want to talk about the basic CSS shapes, like circle, square, rectangle, ovals. They're the easiest to make. The background color is due to the background of inside of it, not the border of itself. Where others are drawn, like triangles are drawn by the border. I'll show you. So if you take a circle, to make it, you have equal height and width, and then you have a border radius of 50%. So you can do 100 pixels in this case, but the cheat is to do 50%, and it works every time. If you go over 50%, it doesn't have any more effect, only when you go under 50%. So this is how they make those circles for certain web pages with images. It's just the border radius on an image tag. This one is exactly the same CSS. Next, we'll move on to square, which is pretty much the same height and width. It's the easiest shape. Everything on the web's pretty much a square, rectangle. Where rectangles are, one of them's wider or higher than the other. Oval is a combination of circle and rectangle, where you'd use the border radius to be 50%. In this case, 50% of 100 is 50% of 200 is 100. But the cheat is just to do border, the trick is just to do border radius 50%. Those are the easy ones, easy to understand ones. Next, these are all drawn, the triangles, the trapezoid, and star, which is just two triangles anyways. They're drawn using borders. So for example, for triangle up, there's no pixel width or height. By the way, all this will be, I have working code that you guys can look at, and I'll give you my slides as well. But as you can see, the border left and the border right are transparent, but the border bottom, the one coming up, has the color. So if you want to look at it this way, if we change the transparent to white, that's the way it looks like. It's sort of like three triangles. Likewise, triangle down, the main part of it's in the top facing down. So the other two are transparent, and then the top is the color. And if we want to move it to the right, all the color, the main amount of color is on the left-hand side, and then the other two are transparent, the top and the bottom. And what would happen with the left? Anybody? What's that? Same thing, except it's the left. Right. The border right has the color going towards the left, and then the top and bottom are transparent. So what happens if you want to have a triangle that's on the top left? So if both of these would have colors, it would look like that. But you're making the bottom one transparent. And so since it's coming top to bottom, that's the way it looks. Does anybody have a question about that? I see some.
My brain. What is going on?
Yeah. Thank you.
Pause. I just want to admire this for a second. What is going on?
So, the blue color is the one you want, right? And so the main stuff's coming from the top down. So the border top is the blue, and then the border bottom is the white. But when you make it transparent, it looks like that. Do you have a question? It's kind of crazy.
I kind of do, because, I mean, obviously, the logical thing that would happen is not that. It would be...
You would think it was like one level, then one level, but that's not how it works.
What's making it offset? Is there like some quantum thing happening?
I guess you got to think of it. You got to think of it as a square. But I guess in a way that it comes down this way and then up that way.
So with height, we have a point.
Right.
Sort of. Then the top order is 100 pixels,
Right.
which is the height of the box.
Right. It's from top to bottom, and the other one's from bottom to
And
top.
order right is 100 pixels. Okay. So basically, CSS hurts itself when that happens.
But you could use it for really cool things. But maybe we continue around the four corners, the right one. The blue is coming from the top again, and the left is coming from the bottom. And let me look at that for a second. Right, where the blue one is whatever it starts at. So in this case, the bottom is coming up, it's blue. No, the bottom, sorry. The thickest part, top, is coming down. Does that make sense? It gets confusing, I guess. But if we were to go from the bottom left, it's, I don't know if I can move. So this would be the bottom, and then that would be the top. This is transparent. I mean the right. So see, it's coming from the right side. Let's find out. Let's find out.
Does it work in IE?
Yes, this all works in all the browsers. It's lower resolution. Come on. Let me try moving this over here for a second. It won't let me move it down. Here we go. Can you see that? Come on. All right. So this one is, starts on the right with the transparent. Let's see, border right. Now you have me all messed up. If I cancel that, so I switched it to the left. Switch it to right. Then it gets really fun. Try to figure out how to explain this better.
Does it gel for you? I mean,
It does, but it's trial and error in this case.
cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. And then you end up with the four corners. I'll put more in my notes about that. Okay. So we almost drew this when I was doing the live thing, the trapezoid. The ends taper in from the left and the right. So the border comes from the bottom. When I was messing with it and I put a border left in, that's almost what it was ended up looking like. And you know how we had the triangle going up? We could have the triangle going down. Do you guys understand before and after? Pseudo? So before and after means I'm putting some element before the div, and I'm putting some element after the div that wasn't there. It doesn't work for accessibility, but it works for fancy stars and stuff like that. So you take and you so this is how you build the first one, just like you build a normal star. Border bottom, it's coming up, it's that way. And then this is after. It draws it border down, like border top, that's right, coming down that way. And we use positions on this, and then we move it over on top of each other with the position. Does that make sense?
As much as anything you've said so far.
All right, but you move this over -50 pixels, and so the more interesting stuff.
With the before and after, your star 6 is relative, and then your star 6 after its position absolute is relative to the star 6.
Right,
Absolute.
right. You have to send them both. They both have to have positions.
It's kind of like a relative absolute. Okay, cool.
It's absolute to the relative. All right. Now we have some of those basic things. We can do these fun things. Make a talk bubble, Pac-Man, Yin Yang. So the talk bubble is pretty easy to do because we already know how to make the square with border radius, right? You guys all know how to do that. You set a border radius of like 10, and then we make that triangle going to the left, and then we pull it over. This is the padding for the words. It's a rectangle. And then the background color is, of course, in there. Now we make the triangle over here. It's a left one, so it comes from the right-hand side. Most of it's on the right-hand side. And then these two are transparent, just like we did originally here. And then a position absolute. What is what?
Content.
Well, you put content in there, it's empty. But if I put a word in there, a word would go inside of there. And the big reason you would use that for before is, so you're making a print style sheet, and you want to, every link, you want to put the actual URL. You grab the attribute of the URL and you put it in there inside brackets so the print people know where the URL was. That's one of the cool things for that. So let's make a Pac-Man. This one uses border radius to make the circle. And then we come from the left. Let's see. Yeah, the border right's transparent. So if you thought of this as a square instead of a circle, I could show this to you. Can you guys see this okay? So if I take away border radius, it's just a square with the right side, the left, it would be border left, right? Let's see here. No, it's not showing up. I had made it all one thing. The editor made it all one thing. I'll show you the code, which is this is a little bit small. Sorry. So the border right is the one that's transparent, and then the other borders have colors on them. So that's how this ends up. And then you just border radius it, and it's a circle, and then you have Pac-Man. Waka waka. Yeah, there's the code. And then we want to go crazy and make yin yang. So this one's a little more interesting. So I tried to break it up into, this is like the first drawing of it, and this is combined there, and I added a green so you can see things better. So you make the border, you have border radius of 100%. I don't know if you can hear me. And then, see the border, it's 100%. And the border color is a blue, but the background is white. And so it ends up looking like that, believe it or not. But the border radius in there. This one's before and after. Before we take and we put in blue on the outside border with the white on the inside. And the width being 12 pixels. And then we go halfway up with the 50%. Position absolute. We need the content thing because it won't fill in the color if there's nothing in it. So you need to put content, empty space. Likewise, here's the white border with the background color of blue. It's reversed. And then it ends up looking like that, which is pretty cool. Next, we're going to get into CSS transforms, which gets into skew and scale, rotate and translate. This is where the magic happens. So to make a rectangle, you just got to skew it. So let me show you. These are the real things that you'll be able to get. Which is just slightly bigger. So here you have a rectangle. Here you have the rectangle. And it's skewed. The problem with skewed, and it's really cool, you could do navigation items up top, have little folders or whatever. The problem is the words inside it are skewed. So what you have to do is you have to put a div inside of it. And I put a hover to change the skew to be the opposite side. So to make this font work, no matter what, you then, you have to put another div inside of it, or span, and go exact opposite the skew that's live. So so the skew is 20, this is negative 20 degrees. So it straightens it back out. And then on the hover, they switch. It's negative 20 and a positive 20 degrees. The only reason I can see you using this is fancy stuff, but menuing is probably pretty cool for that to be used. So I'm just using the x-axis, and I'm going 20 degrees. And then on hover, I'm switching it to negative 20 degrees. It just flips it back and forth. So we get into scaling. So when I have it on, I'm going to show you the code in a second. When I hover over these, they're going to scale 1.2 times on hover. Need a so used to the higher resolution screens these days. All right. You have to be aware of the surroundings because if you go too big, it will go over top of words. But in the heart, here's the heart. All right. So let's talk about the heart, because we're going to use rotate on this one, which is part of our growing coolness. So when you originally draw it out, it really looks like this, because we have, we set the outside and the width and height, and then we'd use a before and after, even though before and after uses the same code, after changes some. So before, we'll draw this, after draws that. And then we rotate them, and then we move them, we scale them, transform origin, and then they end up looking like a heart. Do you follow that? They're like two silos, with curves, and you twist them this way, and since they're on top of each other, the same color, they end up looking like a heart.
So transform origin is a movement.
It moves it, yeah.
Positioning, but
Yeah. So I think this one's top to bottom, this is right to left. Top to bottom, right to left.
Notice that after is rotated 45 degrees. Before and after is negative.
Right, because,
So I was expecting maybe a 90 degrees on the part that after.
well, because it's put here, right? It's it overrides that one.
Style sheets.
Right,
Sorry.
right. Since this comes whatever after, and it. The next one is even more crazy. The infinity. So what we do here is same thing. We have the outside box, this whole thing. And then we make two squares. And then, let's see, we position absolute top left with 60 pixels, height of 60 pixels. I don't know, I think I copied my code slightly off here. But then we rotated them, we rotate them 45 degrees. And then we put border radius in there, and that turns them into circles. I could show you that. So if we take away the radius, we got square. We take out the radius for before, we got square. We take away the rotate. We take out the rotate for both of those. Boom. So you just rotate them, and you don't have to move them in this case.
The first class, so that's cool.
Yeah, like,
The first class that was there, the one without the pseudo class before and after,
right, it just draws the box.
it just draws a box, just gives you a position to work from, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then the other two ones are before and after, and you just want to optimize, so you put before and after together, and then
Yeah.
one of them. All right. And then to make things even more complicated, yin and yang. We did yin and yang. Did we discuss yin and yang? Did I discuss how you make it? Okay. Well, now we're going to rotate it. So on hover, As soon as I put my mouse on it, it will rotate. Which looks kind of, you know, but bam, there it is. So we need to do something to make that more smooth, right?
Why 99?
It could be anything you want.
99 degrees. Oh, that one's 45 degrees. In your presentation, it said 99 degrees.
Oh,
I was
I probably changed it along the life. It was probably a typo. No, there wasn't anything extra there.
Okay.
So next we want to talk about translating things. I wish. So we want to make our Pac-Man eat the little pills, right? So if I had the idea, we're going to move them, and then we're going to also close the mouth, sort of. You know, I'm just being goofy. So when you hover over him, but then, you know, he moves, so your mouse has to sort of keep up with it. If I had a little bit more time, I would probably made little pills and did a little kind of crazy stuff. So now we're going to talk about transitions, and this is where it gets really cool. This is where that stuff that looks kind of janky is more smooth. So when there's some kind of change on your class, so I should have put hover or something on here, hover, something changes, you have the CSS attribute, how much time, what style is it going to move? Is it linear? Is it ease out, ease in? I'll have the list of them in a second.
Can you stack these up in food? Can you put transition?
You can separate these, like background color, font, or something in commas. You can stack those up in different speeds and all that kind of stuff. And this is the all-encompassing. If you put everything that changes between before and hover, everything that changes in the CSS will change if it's allowed to, okay? So that last part, the linear, ease out, these are the ones you're allowed to use. If you want to get really crazy with the math, the cubic Bezier is your friend. I will put a link in my, I'll show you these real quick. All right, let me show you this guy did a web page, and it shows what these different things do and how the timing is on them naturally, which is really, really cool. And I'll show you why it's cool here in a second. Firebug keeps getting in my way. All right. So here is the circle doing the scaling thing. I mean, doing a color change thing over a couple seconds. Here is the circle changing size when you hover over it. And you pick the time, and here's rotating yin yang, which is a lot smoother than the other one. I thought about it late last night. Maybe I should make the rotating yin yang go really fast and then spin down the road. But I didn't do it. I'm sorry. Too much beer. And here's Pac-Man. So what can you do that's kind of cool? I did the Penn State meteorology site, and if you look at the 3-bar navigation up there, and you will see the 3 bars, they're individual, and they're going to reorient themselves to make an X. And then They reorientate themselves again to make the hamburger navigation. Also, how fast the page opens and how natural it feels when it opens and shuts. So it does that, boom, it comes back. This could be useful UI and make people feel like you put some money into your work, some time and effort. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, let me know. This is my contact information. I will upload all the CSS and HTML files to a Dropbox, and I'll also upload my slides somewhere. Chris, will I be able to give them all my information somewhere else? Like, can I?
Yeah, we can make sure that gets out.
Okay.
We'll upload things either to SlideShare documents.
Okay.
Speaker deck.
Cool.
Or someplace like that.
And don't forget to do this. Any questions?
What was that URL for that Facebook, the FBI,
It's FBI.gov.
just FBI.gov?
Yeah. Sorry. Any other questions? And the other one is MET, I think, .psu. www.met.psu. Any other questions, anybody? Happy shape.
Can we steal all your code?
You can.
Thank you.
Please do.
Yeah. There'll be little comments in there saying, they're Googling for source.
It's cool. I really enjoy doing it. I wanted to do some other stuff, but I was like, it turned out that's all the time I really have. So
Now, I guess the other question is, how much time did you just have on your hands just kind of being bored and playing in CSS before you came to this level?
I've been doing CSS for a really, really, really long time,
Okay.
maybe 15 years. And, on Twitter, I follow, if you look at who I follow, you might find some really cool CSS gurus like Eric Meyer or Leah.
Do you still put jQuery on your pages?
Yeah,
Okay.
because, for example, in this particular case, it does use jQuery to put a class in the body, and same with the FBI one. Mobile is activated. In this page, this part of the page is off the canvas, and then it slides over, and that slides over. Actually, it does it better in the FBI.
Would you expect browsers to perform a little better because you're not loading,
Yeah,
K kilobytes of JavaScript that
Yep.
you use?
CSS is really, really accepted almost everywhere. So this all works on IE 10 and above. Some of the transition stuff doesn't work as well on IE 9, but you have to put in a hyphen Microsoft. I'd have to find the thing for you, but it works in IE 9 if you do that. But all the rest of these work without browser prefixes.
Even the translation, I just find that really cool that we can do stuff like that without JavaScript.
Yeah, just the one jQuery thing that
Not that JavaScript is horrible, but it's a little bit.
it's a little more. Yeah, I'm one of those
I don't
people.
know, JavaScript might be easier to read than.
I'm one of those people that if CSS can do it, I want to do it with CSS. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
it makes me happy in my middle. It feels really, really clean and nice. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Aren't the shapes, aren't they done these days with SVG?
Those aren't done with SVG at all. They're just drawn out with the background colors and colors of the borders.
I was wondering if I saw the coding. Is it something you do with SVG?
Yeah, you could do a lot of the same things with SVGs.
And you can do the same transitions on the shape?
Yep.
then?
Yeah, you can maybe do a lot more with them because you have different, you're limited to like the triangle, you're limited to certain things, where SVGs you have paths, and you can fill the path and have some motion and stuff like that.
Could you imagine, how would you draw a Plone logo with that?
I thought about it. It's almost there with Yin Yang, right?
Yeah, you're pretty close.
Maybe I will do it before the end,
Do a sprint.
and I'll do the lightning talk.
Do a sprint.
But you're gonna end with that.
I'll vote for you.
Oh, and one more thing. No, I didn't do it.
Add it to a sprint.
I won't be here for the sprints because Penn State plays Ohio State. I have to go back. Unfortunately. Any other questions? Thank you all for coming.